Over $500 million has been liquidated in the crypto market as a surprise report from crypto research firm Matrixport dropped early yesterday morning, stating that a Bitcoin spot ETF was likely to not be approved by the SEC. Now, in response to this report, Bitcoin and Ether are down about 5 and 6% respectively, with majority of the altcoin market down in the double-digit territory. So what does this mean for the crypto market? Is the rally over, and what should you be doing based on this news? You can expect to hear about all of this and more in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor, nor do I offer any sort of financial advice on YouTube. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do find the videos informative and or entertaining, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turning the notification bell on so you can be notified when all of my latest videos go live. Now, with that, we're going to hop right into today's news. Okay, Bitcoin is down about 5% on the day, and I am recording this video a day prior, but regardless of the price action, the news has not changed. And the important news, okay, the reason why Bitcoin has declined like this over the past 24 hours must be because on Tuesday, Jim Cramer got bullish on Bitcoin once again and called it a technological marvel that people need to start recognizing is here to stay. And this is in contrast to his remarks in early October during the Sam Bankman-Fried trial, where he said that he was not interested in getting long the crypto as Mr. Bitcoin is about to go down big, quote unquote. And obviously at the time of this report here, or where Jim Cramer said this Bitcoin was in fact under $30,000, currently sits at about 42.8K. But all jokes aside, obviously that is not the real reason that Bitcoin did go down. And if it sounds like I'm not taking this dip too seriously, the matter of fact is I'm really not, okay? Because this is crypto and we see much bigger declines in the middle of bull markets, which I do believe we are still in the very early stages of. So after seeing this decline and seeing people, kind of freaking out all over Twitter that we saw Bitcoin and Ether and the altcoin market dip, I said, if the sell-off has you freaking out, you have gotten way too comfortable in up-only mode. Welcome to crypto, okay? And a perfect example of that, if we actually go back to the previous bull market. So let's take a look at the 5-year chart. And we actually had Bitcoin go all the way up to $64,000 in April. Then it was confirmed that, or not confirmed, but it was reported at the time that China had banned Bitcoin mining. And boom, from that level, Bitcoin dropped all the way from 64K all the way down to 30K, okay? Now, from that level, Bitcoin once again doubled and went on to hit new all-time highs at $69,000. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% pullbacks in the middle of bull markets do in fact occur. And, this 5% decline here does really not have me concerned whatsoever. Structurally, Bitcoin still looks very bullish if we take a look at this chart, even just from the bottom of the 2022 year all the way up here to where we currently sit. So that's just the first thing I wanted to say. If you are freaking out, if you think that the bull market is over or that, structurally, there may be a shift in sentiment, I would disagree. I think that this is classic crypto doing classic crypto things. However, we do need to acknowledge that, kind of any sort of delays in the Bitcoin spot ETF may lead us to see further downside, which in my opinion would lead to some very interesting opportunities. And if we take a look at the past year here in terms of the Bitcoin price action, I kind of want to talk about the rally we saw last year because I think you can kind of divide it into different segments based on the news. So up until March, this is when we saw the collapse of, Silicon Valley Bank and a couple of other banks. And we basically saw Bitcoin rally from 16,000 all the way up to about $30,000 before tapping out. And then after we kind of saw the collapse of the banks, Bitcoin was on a bit of a decline, down from 30K to about the $25,000 area. And then boom, we saw this massive spike based on the news that a BlackRock spot ETF was in the works along with a ton of other asset managers. Now we kind of saw this news taper off as well until late October when the news came back in full force that a spot ETF was likely to get approved in either late 2023 or early 2024. And that kind of leads us to where we are at the moment here as we are in early January. Excuse the voice crack. I'm still still a little bit sick from New Year's. As we are now in early January, a spot ETF should be coming soon, and Bitcoin is trading above $40,000. However, there was kind of a little bit of a stint put in this narrative early yesterday morning, as Matrixport, a crypto research firm, said that they were skeptical of the approval of a Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, we are going to hop into this news in just a moment, but first, I want to take a brief moment to shout out Candy City. This is not a paid promotion, although we have done work with them in the past. They have launched a crypto mobile game that is live in both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Now, you guys know we are big fans of Crocoin and the Chronos chain here on the channel, and this game is in fact on the Chronos blockchain. You can see here that it is very similar to Candy Crush, but it is in fact a crypto native game that integrates both their native token as well as their board candy NFTs. The team is set to ship about 3 more games this year as well, and they are continuing to build out features for Candy City, including a new multiplayer feature that has just recently launched, which does offer candy token as rewards. So shout out to the Candy team for this launch, and I will leave a link to their Twitter in the description down below, so you can feel free to check it out for yourself if you so please. Okay, so back to the report here. This is what was claimed by Matrixport to their clients. They basically said the current 5-person voting commissioner's leadership, critical for the ETF approval of the SEC, is dominated by Democrats. SEC Chair Gary Gensler is not embracing crypto in the US, and it might even be a very long shot to expect that he would vote to approve Bitcoin spot ETFs. So this report dropped. We saw the crypto market drop subsequently following this report, and we actually we saw Jihan Wu, founder of the Bitcoin mining company BitDeer and crypto financial services firm Matrixport, say that the widespread dissemination of a report claiming that Bitcoin exchange traded funds may not be approved in January was not planned by Matrixport and is beyond their control. So basically just kind of stating that, this report was not meant to dip the markets. It is not them engaging in any sort of market manipulation. Is that the case? I mean, who really knows? But I'm sure that they did not expect to see such a mass reaction in response to this report. And interestingly enough, even though Bitcoin is now only down about 5% based on that news, it did actually wick down about 10% at that peak capitulation, coming all the way down to about $40,800. Now, you can look at this one way and say that, it's bearish that Bitcoin fell based on this news. Or you can take a look at the chart and recognize that Bitcoin is still above $40,000 even after this news. And you could even argue, if you were to draw a trend line right here, that it did perfectly bounce off of this uptrending channel that has formed ever since its run from about $40,000 all the way up to $45,000, just once again validating a set of higher lows. Now, we may have seen some of this recovery based on a Fox News reporter who is here on Twitter, basically saying that while the SEC government is surely unpredictable, it would surprise me if approvals were to happen tomorrow. From what I understand through conversations with issuers, the SEC still has to review all the changes made to the S1s filed on Thursday/Friday, as well as make comments on them. Now, if the SEC follows a similar approval timeline to the ETH futures in October, the agency will, after this round of reviews, communicate to the issuers a date where they want the final S1s filed and make them effective in the subsequent 24 to 48 hours. The SEC staff has been off since Friday, so a Tuesday or even a Wednesday approval seems tight, but we shall see. Regardless, the next 2 weeks will be exciting for crypto. And then she later tweeted that the SEC is holding meetings today with exchanges NASDAQ, CBOE, and NYSE to finalize comments on the 19B4S submitted by the Bitcoin spot ETF issuers. So, bigger picture, what does this mean for you as a crypto holder? If you have been accumulating all of last year throughout the bear market, does this change your plan? Does this materially change anything in the broader crypto markets? Now, I can't speak for you personally, but does this change anything for me or, in the broader crypto markets? In my opinion, not whatsoever, okay? I think that there is a very high chance that a spot ETF gets approved at some point early this year, whether it's this week, next week, the week after, or to be blunt, even if it was in July or December, I wouldn't care. I don't think it makes that much of a difference overall. The spot ETF, is it a big deal? Yes, I think it will help a lot of people. A lot of capital will flow into Bitcoin that otherwise I don't think would flow into Bitcoin. I do think that it is a big deal, that it will get some more money into this asset class as a whole. However, I don't think it is a make or break thing for Bitcoin whatsoever. I think that the real narrative to look forward to this year, and probably something that people are going to focus on following spot ETF approval, is the upcoming Bitcoin halving. Okay, the Bitcoin halving is when we are going to once again see the supply for Bitcoin cut in half, and I do expect the demand to be nothing but increasing for this asset. I think a spot ETF would only really accelerate the demand, but does not change the direction of demand, which has basically been up only for years at this point when it comes to Bitcoin. So, I really don't think materially this changes anything whatsoever. And once again, taking a look at a 1-year chart here, I mean, we're basically still close enough, like within 10% of our yearly highs, even over the past 1 year within those highs. And in the broader context of the market, in terms of our all-time high, we are, let's see how far off we are. So we're still about like 35, 38% off from that all-time high, which means if you do believe Bitcoin is going to make a new all-time high at some point following the halving, there is still 38%. Actually, if we were to trace the move from where we are right now up there, that is still about a 60% move to get back up to that previous all-time high. And then beyond that, I mean, that is just even more percentage gains. Okay, now interestingly enough, Ether actually looks not as good as Bitcoin. Okay, if we actually take a look at Ethereum, it is still down over 50% from that all-time high. And to once again reach all-time highs, it would have to go up about 118%. Now, looking forward beyond the Bitcoin ETF, beyond the Bitcoin halving, because we know markets are forward-looking. Well, my whole thing is, what do we think is next to get approved for a spot ETF after Bitcoin? And in my opinion, that is going to be Ethereum. So I said it in my video in December, talking about top 3 layer 1s for the upcoming year. I spoke about it in my video earlier this week, talking about the top 3 altcoins that are breaking out. I do think that once the Bitcoin spot ETF hype kind of fades away and people look for the next ETF, that Ethereum is going to be next in line, as well as the EIP 4844 upgrade, which is due at some point, who knows when. But I do think that that narrative will serve as further upside for ETH and its ecosystem. So looking forward, I do still think a spot ETF is coming. We know the Bitcoin halving is coming, and I think this will also lead to subsequent ETFs once people see the demand for the Bitcoin spot ETF. And I do think Ether will be a big winner of that forward-looking ETF narrative. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments down below. Are you holding? Are you buying? What are you doing based on this news? I hope you all enjoyed the content in today's video. I hope you are staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.